Welcome to Module 3 of the Georeferencing and CCH2 Training Course. In this module, we will demonstrate a number of shortcuts for georeferencing in the CCH2 occurrence editor. When coordinate data already exists on the label in a different format, we can convert it into decimal degrees using built-in tools. We can also search for duplicate specimens using the Dupes tool, or we can use the coordinate cloning tool to find similar localities and import their georeference data. It may be helpful for you to follow along in the protocol for georeferencing individual specimens, which can be found on the Capturing California's Flowers website. The procedures covered in this module will start on Step 5. Steps 1 through 4 were covered in Module 2, and Steps 8 and on will be covered in Module 4. Let's start on the Occurrence Editor page of one of the specimens we found in Module 2. First, we should look at the locality information and the image of the label when available to make sure that it doesn't already have coordinate information that was entered by the data transcriber. Because there are many coordinate systems like we discussed in Module 1, these data are frequently misunderstood by the data transcriber and not properly converted into decimal degrees. To enter coordinate data in a different coordinate system, press the F button to the right of the latitude, longitude, and uncertainty fields. If we see coordinate information in degrees, minutes, seconds format, we can enter it in the left-hand yellow box. The degrees go in the first field, minutes in the second field, and seconds in the third field. Once this information is entered, click Insert lat-long values to convert them into decimal degrees. When you enter coordinate information from the label, document this in the Georeferenced By and Georeference Remarks field. Enter your name or username in the Georeferenced By field, then enter coordinates from label in the Georeference Remarks field. If we see UTM coordinates on the label, we enter them in the yellow box in the center. We enter the zone, a number between 1 and 60, in the first field, the easting, or the number followed by an E, in the second field, and the northing, which is the number followed by an N, in the third field. Once this information is entered, click Insert UTM values to convert them into decimal degrees. Again, make sure to document this in the Georeferenced By and Georeference Remarks fields. If we see township range section data on the label, we enter them in the right-hand yellow box. The number of the township goes in the first field, and we can select either N or S from the drop-down menu. The number of the range goes in the second field, and again we select either E or W afterwards. Then the section goes in the third field. If there is any additional information, it goes into the Details section. Next, click Insert TRS Values. Notice that these values are now entered in the Verbatim Coordinates field in a standardized format. Unfortunately, CCH2 is not able to automatically convert township range section values into decimal degrees. However, our georeferencing application, Geolocate, is able to do so. Make sure that the country, state, province, and county fields are filled, then click the Geolocate button next to the uncertainty field. On the resulting Geolocate page, click the tab where it tells you how many possible locations have been found and examine the results to determine which one corresponds to the township range section information you entered. You will be able to determine this by finding the record that has an uncertainty radius of 969 meters. This is the error radius encompassed by a 1 square mile section. You will also see township range section information after pattern, although it looks a little different. Select this automatically parsed location by clicking the red or green dot on the far left. Now we should evaluate whether this location matches the locality information on the specimen label. You should always double-check georeference data that you import from another source or receive as a suggestion from Geolocate. Sometimes, because of the locality details provided on the label, you can georeference the specimen more precisely than the township range section information alone. Use the point radius protocol, which will be explained in Module 4, to do this. Click Save to your application to import these coordinates from Geolocate into the Occurrence Editor. Then add yourself as the georeferencer and note any assumptions you made in the Georeferencing Remarks field. If there are no coordinates listed on the label, we next want to determine whether duplicate specimens exist for this record. Duplicate specimens are specimens of the same taxon that were collected on the same day and at the same place. Collectors will collect duplicate specimens and send them to other herbaria as a sort of backup in case anything happens to the specimen in their home herbarium. If another herbarium has already georeferenced their duplicate specimen, we may be able to import those coordinates rather than having to georeference the specimen from scratch. The Dupes tool will search for specimens across the whole CCH2 that were collected by the same person on the same day with the same collector number. If it finds a duplicate, a new window will pop up with green text that says Possible Exact Duplicates. The Dupes tool will also show us specimens that are not the same taxon as our specimen, but were collected by the same person on the same day. In these cases, a new window will pop up with orange text that says Possible Matching Duplicate Events. Since collectors often collect many different plants in a location, we might still be able to import these coordinates even if the specimen is not an exact duplicate. In either case, we can determine whether we can import coordinates by comparing the locality of the purported duplicate to the locality of our original specimen. If they are the same and the duplicate has already been georeferenced, we click Transfer to Empty Fields. Any fields that have been auto-filled by this tool will now show up in blue. Make sure to check all the blue highlighted fields to make sure that they didn't add extra information that is not on the original label besides the georeferencing fields. We should also check the coordinates that we imported to make sure they make sense. Click the globe icon to the right of the uncertainty field to view the point and radius. Using your knowledge of the point radius method, which will be described in Module 4, make sure that the placed point is reasonable. If you can move the point or reduce the error radius to be more precise, given the information on the label, you can do that as well. Alternatively, you might find that the coordinate seems way off and you may need to georeference that specimen yourself after all. If you edited the coordinates that you imported, click the pencil icon to view the georeferencing fields. Document yourself as the georeferencer and explain your edits in the georeferencing remarks field. If we weren't able to import coordinates using the Dupes tool, we have one last shortcut we can take before georeferencing it ourselves. This is the coordinate cloning tool. You can access this tool by clicking the C button to the right of the geolocate button. This tool looks for similar locality descriptions to the one on your label. The locality will automatically be imported into the locality field, and it will search the whole database for similar localities that have already been georeferenced. You may want to play around with what is in the locality field and try a contains search to find similar coordinates. Just like when we were searching for specimens to georeference, the contains search will look for localities that contain a given text, but may include more information than just that text. Click the tags on the map to see the locality information of each coordinate so you can compare it to the locality information of your specimen. The coordinate cloning tool may give us a precise georeference for a locality, but we can also just use the coordinates as a starting place for georeferencing. When we see a point that is similar or that we would like to start with, we can click Use Coordinates, and the data will import from that record into our specimen record. Again, now we need to check the coordinates we imported and potentially change them, depending on whether the coordinates match the locality description exactly as they should. This takes a little practice and familiarity with the point radius method. As always, make sure to document yourself as the georeferencer, or one of the georeferencers, and note any assumptions you made in placing the point or making the error radius in the georeference remarks field. Before you move on to the next specimen, always make sure to save your work. You can either press Enter from any field or scroll to the bottom of the page and click Save Edits. Using these three shortcuts can significantly decrease the amount of time you spend georeferencing each specimen. You should always check to see whether these tools can help before opening Geolocate. That's the end of Module 3. Make sure to take the quiz before moving on to the final module.